Hello friend, welcome to MOG Economics. My name is Godwin. Today we shall be talking about the topic, does elasticity change along a non-linear supply curve? Does elasticity change along a non-linear supply curve? Okay, when do we say a curve is non-linear? We say a curve is non-linear when it changes slope. Okay, so look at this particular supply curve. We have this graph here. The slope here is not the same as the slope here, it's not the same as the slope here, and so on and so forth. So that's when we say that a curve is non-linear. A linear curve has a straight line, but this doesn't have a straight line. We have different shapes at different points. Now, how do we calculate the elasticity with the midpoint formula to check what is going to happen, to check the kind of elasticity that this supply curve is going to have, since it is non-linear? Now, the price elasticity of supply formula using the midpoint method is simply this: the new quantity Q2 minus Q1 divided by the average of the quantities, that is Q2 plus Q1 over 2, that's 100 over 1, then the same thing for the price. Now I want to check what is the price elasticity of supply when the price was 50 and then the price became 75. So when the price was 50 and now the price becomes 75. When the price was 50, what do we have? 20 units of this commodity was produced, and then the price is 75 now, and 45 units of it was produced. Okay, this is to tell us that based on the law of supply, an increase in price of the commodity, other things being equal, will lead to an increase in the quantity supply of that commodity. Okay, so then we check the price. Okay, 75 and 50. So the new price is 75. Since we are talking about an increase in price of 50 to 75, and as the new price then divided by the average is times 100 over 1. Now, 45 over 20 is 25, then this is 32.5 times 100 over 1. At the end of the day, we have 76.92% for the numerator, that is the change in quantity. Then divided by 75 minus 50 is 25. Okay, this plus this is 125, divided by 2 is 62.5 times 100 over 1, we have 40%. So when we do the division, we have 1.9. And 1.9, since 1.9 is greater than 1, so we have an elastic supply curve at this point. So when we move from 50 to 75, we have an elastic supply curve. Now, what is the elasticity? What is the price elasticity when we get to this price 200 and then we move to 250? Now look at it, 200 to 250. So what do we have? When it's 200, 100 units of this commodity is being produced, and then when the price becomes 250, we have 110 of this commodity being produced. So 110 happens to be new quantity, then 100 is the old quantity. So we have new quantity minus old quantity, then the average is 110 plus 100 over 2, and then the price. What happens to the price? This is the new price, old price, the average of the new price, then divided by 2 times 100 over 1. Now 110 minus 100 is 10, 110 plus 100 is 210, divided by 2, that's 105 times 100 over 1. And all of that divided by 250 minus 200 is 50, then this is 450, divided by 2 is 225, that's 100 over 1. Everything that happens here happens to be 9.52%, so there is a 9.52% change in quantity supply, that is a 9.52% increase since it is positive. Then here, the price changed by 22.22%, so a 22.22% change in price, in this case, increment in price, they led to a 9.52% percentage change increase in quantity supply. And at the end of the day, our elasticity is 0.43, and 0.43 is lesser than 1 because the decision rule is if the price elasticity is 1, then we say the curve concerned whether demand or supply is units elastic or unitary elastic. If it is less than 1, it is fairly inelastic, and if it is greater than 1, it is fairly elastic. So 0.43 is lesser than 1, and that is fairly inelastic. So what is the explanation behind this? Now, a firm could have a supply curve that looks like this. So it's not every time that the supply curve is going to be, in fact, the supply curve is more likely to be a curve, something like this, instead of a straight line. So what could be responsible for something like this? Then we talk about capacity utilization. Now, when a producer just enters into a market, he's likely to produce less than the capacity of his factory. Okay, so that is what happens. So let's assume that this supply curve represents the supply curve of a bakery. Okay, where bread is being made. Now, immediately when the price of bread was 50, when the price in the market was 50, it's our producer that was producing 20 loaves of bread. Okay, which is then which is something that is normal. Okay, then after the price became 75, it is a really interesting thing for the producer to increase output. So in this case, the producer increased output from 20 to 45. Okay, so what does that tell us? That simply is telling us that the producer still had some excess capacity on ground that he wasn't utilizing when the price of his commodity was 50. So immediately the price rose to 75. That was an incentive to him to produce more, that is to employ more of that is to utilize more of the capacity of his of the factory. Now, as the initial point, the producer might have an oven, okay, that is capable of producing up to, let's say, 120 or 150 loaves of bread at the same time. But because what the market really wants at that time is not more than 20, and then the price is actually low, it might just decide to produce 20 to the market. Now that the price has increased to 75, and he has, and his factory, that is the oven he has inside his factory, can actually produce more than what he's actually producing. So he can quickly increase his output from 20 to something bigger, which in this case is 45. So what do we see? There is a change, a little change in price is resulting into a high change in quantity supply, which is a normal thing as long as capacity has not been fully utilized. And when we solve that, we discover that a 40% change in price, and in this case it is an increment because what we have is a plus, is leading to or led to a 76.92% change in quantity supply. That is almost double of the percentage change that occurred in the price. Now, the price of the loaf of bread rise so much to 200 and then rise to 250 again. Now, when it was 200, we discovered that our producer now is producing 100 loaves of bread. But now the price rose to 250. Now that's a significant increase because when we did the elasticity, okay, of the price, so that was when we're talking about this, the 250 minus, now the denominator was 22.22%. So which is look at compared to what's happening to the change in quantity supply. So 20% is almost 3 times of the change in quantity supply that's occurred. Now, that significant increment but led to an increase in the production of loaf of bread from 100 to 110. Now, what's really happened there? There is this particular point that a producer gets to, that is when the capacity of what his farm can produce is already nearing its maximum. So at that particular point, no matter how much the price increases, okay, no matter how much the price of his commodity rises in the market, the producer cannot really do anything about it. So he cannot decide to expand production the way the price has increased. So because at that point it's going to be costing the producer more to produce than what it was costing him at the initial price. So that's at the lower prices. That's when the price was 50 and 75. So that is what is responsible for this kind of curve, capacity utilization. Okay, the capacity utilization at this particular point is already nearing its maximum. All right, our producer cannot afford to increase production from 100 to maybe 200 because what he did here, he more than doubled what he was producing, but he can't really do that here because his factory cannot really afford to produce that kind of quantity. So even if the price did rise to 300, he might not be able to produce an additional loaf of bread that is just more than maybe 1 or 2 or maybe 5 and so on and so forth. So this is what happens when, so we have something like this in the short run basically, because it is in the short run that we have some factors of production being fixed in such a way that a change in market dynamics dynamics does not, a producer does not have the ability to respond to every change in market dynamics. So and that is exactly what is happening here. The price has increased so much, the producer would have loved to produce so much in order to, of course, that is going to generate more revenue for him. But because he's limited in his factory size, he's limited in his plant size, what he really has to do, or what he can really do, is to increase production by a little amount instead of what he would have loved to do. So that is a reason why we have a supply curve of this particular nature. So it is not every time that we have a supply curve being a straight line, being linear in nature, so we could have this. So that is the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you really enjoyed it, you may share this with your friend, and please click on the like button as well as click on the subscribe button, which is absolutely free in order to enjoy more of our videos. See you next time. My name is Oluwole Godwin.